Hi, welcome to the SkyRide. Be sure to keep your hands and feet inside at all times and enjoy your ride. If you have no idea what the SkyRide is, it's a gondola ride that takes you from one side of an area to another. No, not that kind of gondola, this kind of gondola. They have one at the Minnesota State Fair, and since my brother has been working there for a few years, I thought I'd give it a shot. Working at the SkyRide basically means holding the gondolas so people can get in and out of them, and also putting them back on the line to go on the other side. In other words, it requires nothing more than a lot of strength, which is something I do not have. But hey, what's the worst that could happen? I worked the night shifts, which meant two things. For one, that meant that all the people who stayed up late at the fair partying ended up riding at that time, which made my job a lot more interesting. Also, I was the only girl who worked at the SkyRide at night, which made me stick out a little more too. Not a bad thing, but more riders ended up talking to me because of it. Here are some of the most interesting experiences I had at this job. On the first night, I got to leave my shift early, but since my brother worked on the other side of the fair and he was my ride home, I asked if I could ride the SkyRide over to him. Since the ride was slowing down, they let me on, and by the time I got in, the fireworks show started and I had the best seat at the fair to watch them. Honestly, it was magical. While I was sending a couple onto the line, the man looked at me and yelled, "You must do weightlifting!" To which I smiled and replied, "I did it for a class, actually." I got a lot of other comments about how strong I was, especially when I was squished between two gondolas trying to make sure they wouldn't crash into each other, which happened a lot more often than you'd think. At around 10 p.m. one night, there was a family I helped out of the ride, and while they're carrying their tiniest toddler out, she had a Sweet Martha's cookie stuffed in her mouth, but she was too tired to decide what else to do with it. Another time, there was a little girl who was having some trouble getting out of the ride, so I held out my hand. But instead of taking it, she looked right at my palm, hopped out, and gave me a high five instead. When you ride at the SkyRide, you have the option to either buy a one-way ticket or a round trip. If you do a round trip, everyone who works yells "round trip" to the next person down the line to know that the riders aren't getting off on our side. It takes a hot second to explain, but long story short, it was one of my favorite things about the ride. About 4 days into working there, though, my supervisor said I sounded like a bird when I said it, and we laughed about that for the rest of the fair. The worst part was that before he told me, I had no idea why people riding would mimic me when I yelled it. One time there was a group of guys who were doing a round trip, and when I opened the door to take their tickets, they asked if I wanted to join them. I was so flustered by the question I had forgotten to yell round trip, and they almost got kicked off because of it. One of my favorite things was, as I put them on the line, sometimes a rider would ask, "Am I going to die on this thing?" And I'd turn and go, "As long as you have your seatbelt on, you should be fine," before walking away. Yeah, they don't have seatbelts. One time when I was sending off the gondolas, the local news came over to do the weather, and apparently I was in frame for most of it. I didn't think they had used the footage until some people the night after yelled, "Hey, I saw you on the news," as I was moving them along. If anybody can find that footage, I want that to be my face reveal. Sweaty, tired, exhausted Liberty is the best Liberty, and nobody can tell me otherwise. All jokes aside though, I had a ton of fun. My coworkers were incredibly sweet and fun, and it made the time go by so much faster. Not even gonna lie, I liked it so much that I'm considering working there next year. So if you see someone resembling me working at the SkyRide then, feel free to say hi. If you liked this video, be sure to let me know and subscribe for more videos. I was a little ambitious this year with how much I decided to take on school-wise, so the posting schedule might be a little disorganized for a while. I promise I'm trying my hardest though. I'm also taking an animation course this semester, which means possibly less videos now, but better videos in the future. Trust me, I'm working on it. Also, if you want your fan art featured at the end of one of my videos, or if you want to just hang out outside of YouTube, click the link in the description. Thank you so much for all the fan art over the summer. You guys are all so sweet and you make my heart shine. Also, big thank you to NubeGamer for making some of the backgrounds for this. I was having a bit of trouble trying to finish it before November, but he helped out, and I am forever grateful. Thank you! I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Pizza out.